What was the biggest life-changing moment you've had, for better or for worse? I stopped my friend from committing S twice. He later attempted again. No response for 7 days and I almost ended my own life. We are both alive and unhurt. I'm emotionally traumatized and he's still very unstable. I realized that when I jump from hobby to hobby, I'm hiding from who I am because I'm afraid. First it's cross-stitch, then it's retro consoles, then it's book collecting. I think I just have an innate fear of myself because I have confidence issues I don't have the ability to face. Seeing a close friend attempt S, kinda ducked me up quite a bit for a long time. Mom cheated on dad. Mom got pregnant. Not my dad's. Divorce. Mom remarried. I got 3 new sibs. Dad moved 1,000 miles away. Only see him 5 weeks a year about. So yay, life would have been different if mom didn't cheat. Very recently my best friend attempted S. I decided to help him the most I could, and I also decided to weed out the fake people in my life. I ended with less people but more friends. Don't know why these two things correlated, but they did somehow. A few things. I have prevented many of my friends on multiple occasions from S, which really puts me in somebody else's perspective. If I ended myself, how they would feel. Another thing is my parents' divorce. I hate my dad now. Money is hard to come by, and it's just hard. Well, when my father passed about a year and a half ago due to a heart attack, my mom was crying next to his body, desperately trying to give him CPR. He was already lost because by the time we found him the rigor mortis was already set in. Got interrogated by police, couldn't sleep at all. Around 6 a.m. some coroners went to take his body out of the house. They couldn't carry him, so I put on a pair of gloves and helped carry my own deceased father. I was already cold to begin with, but that made me emotionally numb. When my father left us, going to a hospital at 18 as a student EMT, I didn't immediately think much about what I saw, but the following months I increasingly reflected on it. It made me rethink my life, who I was, and who I wanted to be. Becoming aware of the fact that we are all sentient beings with our own stories. That caw-caw driver you honked at and flipped off? He had a life and inner thoughts too. Maybe you two could have been good friends, but due to fate both of you only meet once while driving and never again. When my dad passed, I realized I had to get my ish together so I didn't meet the same fate. No offense, but I mean you're gonna croak one day no matter what, my guy. He passed from AC overdose, my guy. Sorry for not clarifying what fate I didn't wanna meet, lol. LMAO, okay. LMAO? Yes, C is funny. The start of high school. My metabolism just suddenly went from God tier to completely non-existent. Meeting my wife. Getting out of a toxic, abusing friendship and meeting the love of my life. I don't exaggerate when I say this man pretty much saved my life. I went to therapy for my anxiety. Because of that I was able to pass 12th grade, my anxiety was affecting my grades and I almost failed. I now have actual conversations with my parents instead of trying to avoid as much time with them as possible and wishing they weren't home, and it feels amazing to be able to talk to my friends about it and have them understand how I've felt for years. Falling in love for the first time. I've had nothing but pain since then, but it was worth it. Every minute since we made eye contact has been a worthy trade for the experience of that single moment alone. The first heartbreaking experience comes for everyone sooner or later. Believe me, you'll get over it soon enough and things will be better. Being in love is a great thing, don't be afraid of falling in love again. Better luck next time. Tongue sticking out. I've been working at it for at least 10 years since then, and briefly, I thought I had it again. Love is a strange thing, but it's worth the trouble. Deciding I wasn't happy with my life and needed to get out of the toxic environment I'm in right now. Losing my child 4 years ago. I don't ever want to go through that again. Although, My brother is a deadbeat piece of filth, so he left his daughter in mine and my mother's care. So that helps. Birth because it gave me a reason to want to watching my daughter love her boyfriend through brain surgery. I overcame my fear of the gym. I also hired a trainer who specializes in Olympic lifting and kettlebells. I am stronger and leaner than I was at the end of 2018, smiley face. I look forward to the next year. Leaving my ex really opened my eyes to how much disrespect I tolerated, and since then I've become a lot less tolerant to people's bullshit behavior, which is very good. I came out about my sexuality. I'm finally okay with who I am for the most part. Danny DeVito tasted, for the first time, the sweet nectar of mutually shared love, affection, and understanding. I figured out I'm transgender. It explains a lot. Got divorced. Have since found a much better woman, gained a lot of new friends, have money in the bank, have taken a lot of nice vacations, am debt-free and a whole heck of a lot happier. When I was 13 I was diagnosed with a condition where my hip bones were being starved of blood, making them brittle. That came out of nowhere and I'm still suffering from the effects. 6 years ago I lost my best friend of 10 years to a car accident. It was the other driver's fault. She died from injuries and her 3-year-old was in the hospital for a week. Messed me up for a while. I had family members die that were older and were in bad health, but never anybody just out the blue. Getting that phone call while at work was the worst feeling ever. I fainted while crossing a busy street, ending up marrying the stranger who caught me. Missed the train and had to catch the next one. As a result, recognized a friend of a friend who was on the later train and got chatting. By the end of the 25 minutes or so train ride I was pretty much in love. We didn't last, but the 4 years we were together changed me a lot. Getting arrested. Even when charges are dropped, that weekend in solitary out of the blue can sure as shit clue you in that maybe you need to reevaluate how you make your life decisions. I'm still an idiot, but I'm learning. I'm in probably the best place now that I've been in my entire adult life. Just because of a suspicion of doing something wrong, funnily enough, I actually was innocent that time. Getting fired. I thought it was the absolute worst thing that could happen, but it turned out to be the best. Showed me that I could overcome a lot more than I thought. In 1994, on my way home from work I saw a UFO hovering over a house, shining a beam of light on the roof. At one point I was almost underneath it in my car. When I was 15 I got sent to juvie, kind of juvie, more of a home for boys/girls kind of affair. 9 in the morning I was taking class, 10:30 I'm in a part of the country I have never been before and living with a bunch of kids I did not know. I had to leave my friends, my home, basically everything. I grew up real fast that day. In the end it did me good cause I had to leave a toxic household, but the shock at the time was real. Having a spinal deformity which basically caused me to have a hunchback and extreme pain daily. We knew something was up, and got x-rays to see what was going on. I was expecting the doctor to say I needed a brace, but this dude comes in and goes, "There's no way around it, you're going to have spinal surgery." I was like, what? Got referred to a spinal specialist an hour and a half away and talked to him. Fast forward a year and I had the surgery I needed. Rods and screws in most of my spine, and they took a rib out for bone grafts. I'm now virtually pain-free and 6 feet tall with a straight spine, so that's nice. Getting neurological symptoms that turned out to be multiple sclerosis. I found out I was pregnant right after my fiancé husband now left for Marine boot camp. I ended up on bed rest for the whole time he was gone, and it was the worst experience of my life. I knew I was going to lose it, but I was so attached I didn't want to believe it. Long story short, I lost it the day after he came back home, and he got to spend his 10 days home with me in the hospital before he had to go back to California for more training. I was 17 at the time and he just turned 18. That definitely took an impact on my life, and I didn't even know I was pregnant for 5 weeks before he left. When I let someone go that I loved and found out that they weren't the one for me, it was upsetting, but somehow very relieving. I was in my last year of college, working in my area in a big government hydroelectric plant, when my father was ran over by a car and I had to quit and move back to take care of him. It's been 2 years. First few months were awful, but now I'm engaged and started university again. In a different field, so quite the different outcome I was expecting. My entire last relationship. We were together for a long time. He's the reason I went to college, the reason I could afford college, so the reason I'm making money today. We broke up because he isn't attracted to me, or he's more attracted to other people. I was his first. But now he's the reason I want to go back to school and get my master's. Quitting cigarettes drastically improved my health. I lost literally all my friends at the start of this year because I was addicted to drugs. I've been sober now for almost 6 months and I'm kicking my mental illness in the booty, too. I can finally say I'm genuinely excited for life. This might sound insignificant to a lot of people, but for some reason it really struck something in me. I was 19 working retail in the fitting room and our store had just opened. We had an alarm right beside the fitting area and it constantly kept beeping and no manager bothered to call maintenance to fix it. I had a ton of customers as well as coworkers complain to me about how annoying it was. Some customers got extremely upset about it. I myself ranted a few times about it as it was quite distracting. Well, this 40-ish-year-old man came in one day wanting to try something on and I quickly realized he was deaf. He was so kind and cheerful during our interaction. I'm not quite sure why, but seeing how positive he was despite his lack of hearing really hit me. I realized right then and there how much we take for granted and the fact that we are all wah-wah-ing about hearing an annoying sound when this man cannot even hear a sound. I actually started to tear up as I was walking back to my chair. That moment really made me appreciate everything we usually take for granted in our everyday lives, and I really believe it made me a more grateful person. Fast forward to being 23 and I still think about that moment. Growing up in an emotionally/physically/verbally abusive household, promiscuity at a young age, unsuccessfully attempting S. Now I'm 32 with a degree, a dog, and selling my first house, after buying it 5 years ago cheap. The drive to get the heck out and not let him win was stronger than any other drive I've ever experienced. My ex held a loaded gun to my head and I think about it often. I wonder how I went back to our house after staying at a friend's for a couple weeks and how it took me another couple months to finally leave, and I think about what would have happened if he pulled the trigger. It really ducks with my mind sometimes. I wonder if he was bluffing to control me or if he was legitimately considering shooting me. He had said he wasn't going to, but I wish I could know the honest answer. Just to know. Also, my mom passing sticks with me. I think about it often, but I'm not as sad anymore. And I sort of feel like I should still break down sometimes, but it's been a while since I have and it feels odd to me. The first year was the hardest, but going into the second has been completely different. The day I quit my first real job. My boss was a creep and had been harassing me for months. One day, he went over the line for the last time. I went to lunch, cried in my car, decided I deserved better, walked into his office and quit. I was a different person after that. My mom passed unexpectedly upstairs in my house when I was 13. I was downstairs with my little brother watching TV in my room, and I still remember the look on my stepdad's face when he walked into my room with tears streaming down his face and said, "It doesn't look good." I once had a hyper-realistic dream where I was chased and ended brutally by a man. Since then I've understood more how people panic in terrifying situations, even though I know my dream wasn't like actually going through it, and never overestimated how I would handle a situation where my life was threatened again. It feels less like I had a bad dream and more like I've actually lived through such an attack. I can now imagine what it would be like to be ended, and I hate it. It has made me more empathetic to people who live through disasters, and I hate watching movies where people pass pointlessly / for dramatic effect. Sounds stupid, I know. Moving across the country away from my family for a job. I was miserable before I moved and didn't really think it would work out. But it turned out to be one of the best decisions I've ever made. I have a great apartment, a job where I can grow, and I'm surrounded with so many people that I really love. I was in a car wreck. Not a DUI, and one was seriously injured, but my car is totaled. It brought back past trauma from a wreck I was in when I was 18 and there was a fatality. I am so grateful that I woke up today and that I have the opportunity to make sure that I live my life right. Finally. I've been on the fence, really struggling with drinking as I kept thinking I had to socially, and I wasn't shoved into the "you need to do this or you could duck up your whole life and lose everything" mindset. That really hit me. I could have hurt someone, I could be hurt. I've never been religious, but I'll tell you, last night I prayed / meditated / tried to communicate and say thank you to whatever it is that has been watching over me lately, genuinely for the first time, ever. I don't know to what, but I really feel like I got lucky yesterday and I cannot take advantage of that. I have never felt such a need to learn and grow from something, terrible to admit. In the past, I just kept making up excuses, so I never quit drinking and also never have become the person I know I'm capable of being. I would drink well knowing it was not good for me and my life / career in every way. I knew it was bad for me, but I just kept ignoring it, trying to be like a normal drinker, which I never really have been. Making more mistakes all along the way that I should have learned from. Performing poorly at work. Losing my physique because I became careless as a whole. I have never been without a drink for more than 21 days as an adult. Never fully committed to my physical, emotional, and mental health. Today, I see the light. I accept that I will ruin my life and can hurt others if I don't change this very instant, and that this feeling won't last unless I have a clear reason to stick to it. Right now my reasons are fear and gratitude. Fear of what I could lose and gratitude that I am alive and that the world is worth being something in. I want to succeed at life. I am so grateful for this community and to be able to share this here. I am so ashamed and embarrassed about all of my past failures, and I am relieved I can write here to not feel so terribly alone or judged. Thank you for reading. In Dwight. Like this video, you gorgeous person, comment your biggest life-changing moment, and please subscribe for more Reddit videos. Kiss kiss kiss. You're cute.